It's perfect right there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, sweet. Just getting set up here. I don't even know what I'm going to call this thing yet, but thanks for being here, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Just wanted to start a podcast. Got a lot of cool friends that I think probably have some good stories and things to share. So I figured, you were one of them. We were online, and you said that you're getting ready to move, and so I figured now as good as time as any to hit you up for a conversation.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm glad you invited me.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. I've been wanting to be like part of a podcast or on a podcast like for a while. Like, do you know Robbie?
Robbie, I don't know.
He played in EU for a while. Robbie Chappell.
What does he play? What instrument?
A guitar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I probably do. I just don't know the name. I know his face.
Yeah, he's been at like a billion shows. He's like at all of like the like Blair House and like Anton House shows.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I've definitely been to some of those, so I'm sure I've bumped shoulders with him.
Yeah, you've probably seen him, but like him and I, we like anytime we meet up with each other, we just like have a conversation, and it just seems like fucking hilarious. Like some of the stuff that ends up coming up, and it's like, man, like why don't we just record some?
Why weren't we recording that? Yeah, exactly.
But then at the same time, we're just like, who the fuck's gonna listen to like any of this stuff? And some of it's so random and off the wall.
Totally. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering the same. Like, I don't know who's gonna listen, and also at the same time, it's like kind of terrifying because then you're like, well, who is gonna listen? And what am I gonna end up saying? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm excited. I used to have a podcast with a friend of mine that I worked with, and he was just like a high school friend. It was a long time ago. This was probably like close to 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
But he was doing like local stand-up comedy, and we would get some like the local stand-up comics on, and we had you remember the Donkey Show?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had Drew from the Donkey Show on one time.
Really?
So that was kind of cool. Because he was in the comedy scene at the same time, so that's kind of how we pulled that off.
So that was the thing based in Eugene then?
What you mean, the Donkey Show?
Yeah,
that was in Eugene.
Okay, I don't know why, but for some reason I thought it was like based out of LA and was like distributed like to whatever radio station it was. So that's interesting. I never knew that.
Yeah, they I guess they moved to Portland and they have a show there, but I don't listen to it.
Yeah, I mean that's like, what was it, like 97.9?
Yeah,
like back in the 90s or whatever, like way back in the day. Yeah.
Now they changed the radio frequency and they're like a totally different thing. I don't even listen to the radio anymore, really, honestly.
I don't know how it's still a thing anymore, but people apparently want to pay for advertisement and stuff still.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I do see that aspect of it. There probably is still money in that.
I don't know why though, because like I don't know anyone who listens to it.
Yeah,
like,
most of the
like
people.
Something like breaks or like their phone dies or something.
I don't even have a radio in my other car, and I never use the radio in the one that I drive daily. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't ever hardly listen to the radio, but back then I guess it was kind of different times, and it's probably I would just listen to the radio like at work or I don't think podcasts and stuff were as accessible. So
yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I forgot.
I think we were just kind of like talking about like getting the podcast started and like the one you did like 10 years ago.
Yeah. So we had some guests, a lot of stand-up comics, and then like I just think like I know a lot of really cool, interesting people, musicians, stand-up comics, burlesque dancers, light guys, sound guys, and so. Bandmates. I think it would be cool just to have them on and just tell the story. One of the things that's kind of cool about it too is, it's funny. Like I listened to Steve-O's podcast. Steve-O from Jackass.
Yeah.
And he had a good point where he said that like it's kind of like you're not gonna live forever, but a video or an interview or whatever might. So like you could kind of live on in that sense, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
People that aren't even alive now might get to know you in some way or a little bit, in the future or whatever. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Being able to have like some kind of legacy, to be able to leave like behind for like the people who like love you and like care about you and stuff like that. Because I mean, memories are great, but being able to come back to something where you can like listen
Yeah.
or like see something, or even like a recipe that like like grandma used to cook or something like that,
Sure.
and
You
like
could
all
share
that
that,
stuff like
and
takes you
so many
back.
people could listen to it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And even if it's just like, for like your one friend or like your family or whatever, like I think that's like great too. But like if you like have, a community of people that can
Yeah.
have that thing, like that's even like better too, because then like all those people who never could really be close with you kind of have that like, there's something there that they're pulling out of the ether.
Yeah, and it's cool to tell stories, like, to like, just so you don't forget about them or they just never get told. It's like it's cool to say like, oh, I got to do this and these are all the things that happened, or just, and to learn and meet people and talk to people. So I'm pretty excited. It's gonna be cool, I think.
That's dope, man.
Yeah, I've been trying to build my own like little audience, like with my Instagram. I've been doing a lot of drum stuff there, and I'm only up to like 900 followers right now, but I want to build that up and just like see where that goes and
Dude, I think
make more videos and
yeah,
stuff.
man. Like I've noticed that you're like consistently just like putting out like a lot of content on the regular, which I think is fantastic. Like that you want to like do something for the sake of like wanting to like do something and create,
Yeah.
and like I'm excited to see your journey with it, because it seems like you have like a lot of drive and ambition for it.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's been cool, like making all the content and stuff, and like it's hard to make it and do it like regularly and just keep cranking things out constantly. You know what I mean? Because like with the drum videos and stuff that I do, like lately I've been learning a lot of like stuff for my band, like songs that I'm gonna have to play live. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And so I've been working on that a lot, and it doesn't really give me a lot of time to work on things like cover videos or just like whatever other content. And it takes a long time and a lot of work to like learn those songs and then make a video and edit it all up. So it's tough to crank it out on the regular. But I think this will be kind of cool to add to that too. So like I'll have more than one type of content, you know what I mean?
That makes sense. Yeah, finding the time to be able to to fit it all in is really challenging.
Totally.
Especially when you kind of have your hands in a bunch of different pots. Like,
and I do.
it's good though, like
Yeah.
to stay that busy. Like, I mean, it's weird now because I'm the opposite of kind of where like I used to be in that sense. Like there was like a point in time where I was like playing in like 9 different bands here in town
I remember
and just like balls to the wall, like let me fucking do anything and everything. Like
yeah.
I don't care like what it is. I just want to like be like doing stuff with people.
Yeah.
And now like, it's weird because we're coming out of like COVID, it seems.
Yeah.
And like things are starting to open up again. And I'm kind of like moving around to different places, and I don't quite have an exact as like where I'm going to be and really be there. Like, am I going to be here for a long time, or am I only going to be here for a short period of time, and kind of like figuring out like, can I like actually build something like while I'm going to be here, or am I going to be leaving so soon that like maybe I should just wait? But I feel like there's a lot of things like in life that I've kind of had that with and then like not done them, and now I've kind of almost have some regrets behind doing it. So I think regardless, I'm probably just going to like go for whatever it is.
Yeah.
And make the most of the time where, regardless of where I am.
Yeah, you should. I was just gonna say, like, I think it's good that you even have the option to be able to go different places and try different things. And like you're with back to the drumming thing you're talking about, like you were in so many bands or whatever. It's like when you play drums so good, it's like you have so many offers constantly coming at you. You know what I mean? Because good drummers, I feel like, are hard to come by for people.
Yeah, and two, I think a really big part of that is being able to like legitimately like connect with people.
Yeah.
And not just in the sense of like, oh, like you're a great musician, but also like, we're all good people.
Yeah, we
I
can
think
live on a bus for weeks or months together and tour together. And
yeah, exactly. Because like you can be like a crazy like musician or whatever, but like if you're an asshole, no one's gonna want to like hang out with you, let alone pay you to do stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely a part of it. And like another part of it is just like I think just the nature of the instrument that we play is such a like big, loud, expensive obnoxious instrument. You know what I mean? It's hard to find somebody who really will like, put the time in and have the dedication to work on it and find a place to practice that doesn't annoy people, and and have the the resources to be able to afford cymbals and stuff like that. It's funny, when I used to work at Guitar Center, like I would kind of laugh at like the guitar guys that would come in and buy strings, because they would complain about paying I don't even know what a pack of strings go for, like $10 for a pack of strings or whatever. But it's like one drum head is like $15.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
And if you have to replace like a bass drum, that's like $80 or
yeah,
whatever,
it could be $80. Yeah, like easily $50 for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just hard to find people who are that I guess dedicated and it's such a specific thing.
Yeah, I definitely think that like drums is one of those things where it's a lot less like accessible for people to get into, especially if you're like a kid, because like trying to convince your parents, or your parents even just like having the idea, oh, we should get our kid into like percussion or drums. Like no, I don't know any parent that's just like, yeah, let me go ahead and like choose to do this instead of having my kid come to me, kind of a thing. Because I started off learning guitar when I was 12, and it was really funny. My mom, bless her heart, she bought me this guitar that was probably like yay big, and it had like the speaker inside of the body, and it was great. Like I was fucking stoked on it, because she like raised me on like all kinds of different like music, and like that was like our thing. And so she's like, you're gonna be a rock star or whatever, and I'm like, fuck yeah, I am,
Hell yeah.
being super stoked about it. And then like I just could never like figure it out. Like I had no idea what I was doing like at all. And I tried, like, I remember working out of a book, and like growing up, like I was like in a very, very like, poverty kind of stricken like household. So even being able to get the guitar was kind of like, a feat of its own. And I wanted to like be able to honor that, but like no matter what I ended up doing, like I could just like not end up figuring it out. And then like, fast forward, several years later, when I got into high school, I ended up taking a percussion class, and that's how I got started.
Heck yeah. What was that percussion class like? Because I kind of got a similar start, to be honest.
I think it could have been really cool. So at the time, like I was super, super into punk and metal, especially, like hardcore kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And when I took percussion class, like, we're like starting to learn rudiments and cadences and all of that stuff.
So you guys are learning on like marching drums, like snares?
Yeah.
Like
so
that?
Just like traditional like snare drum, playing the bass drum.
Yeah.
Playing
like wear it and smack it on.
Yeah,
the side.
yeah, exactly. And then you had like the other people who were kind of like further along playing. I think they're called quints or like quintuplets or whatever
like
they are.
toms on that you wear.
Yeah, exactly. And I just started off playing snare and like bass drum in the class.
Heck yeah.
And I loved it. Like it was a lot of fun. I had a great time with it. And the cool thing about our band program is like during lunch we'd be able to go in there and play, and so that's how I started actually playing music with people, as opposed to just
what they were teaching you.
Yeah. And a couple of our friends like were super into like like Jimi Hendrix, and he was a great guitar player. He could just play all of that stuff. And then one of my other friends was like super into just like rock and metal kind of stuff, and him and I became really good friends, like best friends, and we would go in there every day and play. And I did the class for a semester, and then the school year ended. This was when I was like in the 10th grade, so going into like my junior year, I was like, I got to take percussion again. Like it's been all summer, I haven't been able to like really do anything. Like I got to get back into this. This was like so much fun for me.
Yeah.
And I was in the class for like 2 weeks, I want to say, and the teacher, he told us all to like just write cadences, not actually play anything. And I was like, well, this is fucking dumb.
Boring.
Like,
yeah.
I'm here to like play like, drums. Like I'm not going to just like sit here and write shit on paper and like, that's it. And so I was like, fuck it. And then I, I just went to the drum set and started like playing, and I'm just, playing like, like really fast and aggressive like punk music and like blast beats or whatever.
Nice.
And I think the whole reason why he wanted us to do that exercise for the day was because he had a really bad headache.
Oh yeah.
And so like his office was like right right? And he's like sitting over here, and the drum set
So
is
there's
like
just blast beats on the other side of his
right
wall.
there. And so he just like immediately like grabbed me, and he was like, "You're done. Like you're not going to be in my class anymore."
Bummer, yeah.
And he kicked me out, and it's a shame because I can only imagine like where I would be in my playing now
Yeah.
had someone like really like fostered.
Embrace that instead
Yeah.
of being like that's annoying or giving
Yeah.
you some other assignment to do.
Yeah, like being like, "Oh, hey, you're really passionate. You just need some direction and like some self-discipline
Yeah.
and like be able to see how this can actually like really benefit you."
Right.
And so now anytime like I see someone who has that, especially like people that I've taught, like I try to really like
That's right. Yeah, you've
give
done some
people that.
teaching, huh?
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done a little bit of teaching. Like, I think I've only had like one student, to be honest, and that was like a long time ago, and it was cool. And I'm into teaching, but it's also it's like its own thing, you know. It's time
It is.
consuming, and it's you know, we gotta for me, I feel like I got to find the right person that wants to learn the right thing from me, you know, because you know, every player is, you know, good at this and not so great at that, and you know, is this the best person to learn that from, kind of thing.
Sure.
So, yeah, teaching is very interesting. Yeah.
What was how long did you have your student for?
It was probably only like maybe 2 months or something like that. It wasn't. It was pretty
Okay.
short.
How old were they?
They were like teenager, and they wanted to learn because they're into like the heavy metal, fast metal stuff, and so you know, he's wanting to learn like double bass and blast beats, and so I showed him like exercises to do and all the different types of blast beats there are and stuff like that. And so I felt like that was, you know, something that I could pass on, or I could teach to somebody pretty well.
Yeah.
But
I mean that seems to be like your bread and butter.
yeah,
I've
I've
seen
always
lately.
been really like into like the heavy, fast stuff. I did like I didn't even really, before I understood like the complexity of it, I just liked the sound of like distorted guitars and crash cymbals and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
I started listening to like heavy metal and rock. It's funny, my very first CD I ever bought was Limp Bizkit.
Fuck yeah! Which one?
The hot dog flavor.
Yeah, dude,
Chocolate
I've been
chocolate
listening
starfish.
to that.
I love that
lot
album
lately.
I know. I still
It's
love
great.
It's so good.
The shit.
Roland is like still one of my faves. I love it. You know, this is great story. When I started working at Guitar Center, you know Cody Lamb, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Lamb chop.
another drummer from our area. We were in the drum department. We got hired at the same time, and we were talking to each other. And I asked him, "What's some of your favorite drummers?" You know, and the first thing he said was John Otto, and I was like, "What, dude? Nobody says John Otto from Limp Bizkit. That's so awesome!" And like we just hit it off like immediately because he's such a cool dude. But I just thought that was so awesome. I was like, I love that. I love Limp Bizkit. He is a great drummer, and I didn't even think of really John Otto as like someone to look at for inspiration, honestly, until that moment. Because like, you know, he's a great drummer, but I just didn't think of him as like that from at that moment until then, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think it's really easy to do that if you're not like paying attention, because it's so easy to get caught up in like, oh, look at all these like crazy people with their chops and shit like that.
Yeah.
And I think like the older you get, the more you look at like the people like who are like
absolutely
fucking just laying it down.
Because his style is like it's hip hop, but it's also heavy metal. It's like he does a really good job blending the two, and when you listen to it, it's great.
Yeah, and like, have you ever watched the '99 Woodstock performance of Limp Bizkit?
I think I may have seen like a clip on YouTube. I don't like specifically remember, but
yeah, I mean, nothing like, you know, like in particular, like about their performance, but just the whole thing is just like fucking solid,
super sick.
And like you'll always like, you know, hear like the very just like, you know, beats and song, you know, and the songs like on the records, because it's like this is a record, like there is no really wiggle room for dicking off. Like we're gonna like
play it how it is on the record.
Yeah, exactly. And like with him like playing live, like he's just fucking nailing it, and he's just hanging in the pocket like the whole time, just doing like what the song needs.
Totally,
so,
totally. There's a lot of good elements to that band too, like the guitar player and Fred Durst, the singer. Like, you know, they're all really good at what they do. I saw a performance from them recently on YouTube, and and it was like spot on. Like they still were killing it. It was awesome. Fred Durst was like in this like onesie, like suit, full suit, and he had like a little fisherman's hat on, and he was wearing the Pit Viper sunglasses, and it said on his shirt, on his onesies, it said "Unfollow me," and
Dude, the
they were on
style.
point. Yeah, it was sick. The Pit Viper glasses, I was like, oh, those are sick. I need some of those.
It's interesting seeing like different people's style and stuff like that when it comes to things like that, especially just like, you know, the more outlandish the better for me.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the band Spirit Box?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you gotta look them up, man. They're
Okay.
a fucking killer band.
I'm down to like check stuff out. I don't know how it really works with like posting if we get pulled down or in trouble for it, but I'm down to like check it out or whatever.
Yeah, man, you should. If you want to pull up something, you should look up the song "Holy Roller." It's like, I think this is probably the tune that just like put them on the map, and now they're just kind of like exploding. But they're the reason why I bring them up is because they're playing a show with Limp Bizkit.
Should I go for the music video?
Yeah. You should play the music video.
Yeah, this will be.
Or actually, wait a second. You should play like a live playthrough performance.
Oh yeah, okay.
You just got to see them like actually play, especially their singer. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good little experiment just to see how this portion of the podcast could go.
Yeah.
I like how they got the hymn banner in the background. That's another band I used to listen to in high school.
Anytime I think of him, I think of Viva La Bam.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think this song went to like #1, and this is when like it was really like blowing up at the time.
Right on. Sick. It's kind of djenty sounding almost.
It is, yeah.
Is that an 8-string guitar?
Probably. Who knows?
Damn, their vocalist is sick.
Oh, wait till you hear her cleans too, though. That's what's like fucking crazy about her.
This is kind of making me think of Ginger, but cooler.
Mm.
Damn. That's crazy. Dude, she sounds sick.
Yeah,
you
right?
never guessed that she was doing that.
I right, and no kidding, right? Just seems like super nice, just friendly, like
like a normal girl.
wholesome, like
pretty
kind
girl.
of feeling, and then just like guttural screaming,
Yeah.
like fuck yeah. Yeah, this is one of the newer bands that I found recently that I've just been really into.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have to check out more of their stuff, but this is definitely dope, dude.
Yeah.
I'm digging
Yeah,
it.
you'll have to check out one of her other songs. I think it's called Constance, and it's really like heartfelt song. I think it's a song about their grandmother like passing,
Oh, wow.
and it's like the music video is just done really, really well to just convey like a lot of emotion, and like the song too. Like when my dad passed, like I listened to like it a lot, and definitely like helped me, and like a lot of things you could just relate to.
Yeah. Wow.
It's just nice to have like something you can really connect to, like that's
Absolutely.
similar going through those kinds of experiences.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like speaking of something to connect to, like when we were talking about like first kind of stuff I was getting into was heavy. It was like heavy music. That was like the only kind of stuff that like I didn't even like music until I heard like that kind of music, heavy metal and stuff like
Interesting.
that. Like
How did you
for a
get
long
into
time. How did I find? Oh, you know what it was? Honestly, I think this is probably it. I used to watch a lot of wrestling when I was a little kid.
it? Yeah.
And
Like SmackDown?
Yeah,
Like
so
Raw?
yeah,
Yeah.
Limp Bizkit, like Undertaker would come out to roll in on this
Oh,
chopper.
that's right. Yeah.
And then they used the My Way or the Highway song for the promo for Rock versus Stone Cold.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably how I got into it, honestly, if thinking back to it. But yeah, just always appreciated like heavy metal, and then the more I learned about it, like the more complex that I started understanding that it was, and then I started playing instruments, the drums, and yeah, it just really appealed to me.
That's super cool. Were the people that you grew up like with, were they kind of influential like in music at all, like for you, or was like the wrestling kind of like how you got into it and then like started exploring out from there?
Well, my dad was a drummer, but we didn't really like connect on that until like after I started playing. So I think yeah, I don't know. It's probably just that, like, cuz I remember like my parents would listen to like a lot of country music, which I'm not really into, or like pop stuff that was just on the radio. And like it's funny because going back to it now, I love all that old cheesy pop stuff that was on the radio at the time. But just I think back then it just didn't appeal to me. It was like, you know, like Britney Spears and the Backstreet Boys and that kind of stuff. I just wasn't into it. You know what I mean?
I think like one of the first times I heard both of those groups. Do you remember like the little like, it wasn't even an MP3 player, but it was just like a little thing like a chip, and it would have like no, this is like way back. This is probably when we were like, you know, like 5 or 6.
Yeah. I think we remember getting them in the drive-thru at McDonald's.
Yeah, and it would just have like the one song that you would like put in there and be able to listen to it. And like
I remember that.
I went to a friend's house like, you know, way back when I was like, you know, 5 or 6 years old, and that's like I think the first time I heard like "Oops, I Did It Again," or you know, one of the Backstreet Boys songs as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, speaking of this stuff, it's funny because my very first concert that I ever went to was Cisco and the Backstreet Boys. And I was probably like, I don't know, like 8 or something. I was super young. I had no idea where I was or what was going on.
That's amazing.
Yeah, first concert ever was Cisco and the Backstreet Boys.
Trying to think of how old I was. I think I was probably like 9, 10, or 11, something like that. And dude, you're going to laugh. I feel like you're going to laugh really hard because this is like the epitome of like, you know, like early 2000s rock music for my first show.
Okay.
First band I ever see the lineup was, and this was like a big show. The lineup was this band called 12 Stones, which...
Oh, yeah, I remember them.
Yeah. And Puddle of Mud.
Yeah.
And Nickelback.
Oh, nice. Dude, sick. It's like the ultimate 90s radio rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember 12 Stones. It's funny because the reason I remember them, too, was they were doing cross-promotion with WWF at the time. Hilarious, dude. That's they were all, it was like, you know, 12 Stones, Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park. I'm trying to remember who else like I would listen to, but that was like the vein of stuff. Then it was like Slipknot and Metallica, and then, you know, start listening to stuff that gets more heavy and more technical, Lamb of God, and then I learned about the Faceless, and I was just like, whoa, what? That was like before I even knew what a blast beat was, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you know, Rings of Saturn is another one of my favorites, and then kind of like cooled off and listened to stuff like Animals as Leaders, and you know, started learning about that kind of stuff, and now just everything interests me. I think it's all valuable to like listen to and learn and observe.
100%. Yeah. I think that I think having an open mind is so important, and I totally get too, like if you're just like in a space where like that music isn't like a thing that you can kind of really like be into, then like that totally makes sense. But like if you can like come back to it like at some point in time with like an open mind and listen to it, I think that's really important, because there is amazing music in like every genre. Like I'm like convinced at this point.
Yeah.
Like if you do enough looking, like you'll find something. Like I used to hate country music.
Yeah.
I used to like stereotype it like crazy.
Yeah.
You know, just like the most stereotypical shit ever. And then like I started like hearing, you know, things that people would show to me, and I was like, oh wow. Like this is actually really great. And still, it's not something that like I listen to like super often, but I have a love and appreciation for it, and like definitely a respect for it too. Yeah,
I totally relate. Like, 'cause now I can go back and listen to it. It's funny. Like if you put on like an Alan Jackson song, like I'm just smiling and
Chattahoochee,
laughing.
man.
Exactly, Chattahoochee was exactly what I was thinking of. But it's just, I don't know. Now it's just like fun to listen to. It's just kind of funny, but like it's still, you know, it's still cool. I still appreciate it.
Yeah, where was I? No, I must have been in Texas when I was learning to play that song. I was charting it out. Yeah, because before the pandemic happened, I mean, I was planning to move to Nashville.
I remember that.
Yeah, to do like music full time, you know, go play down on Broadway.
Heck yeah.
Just play for tips or whatever. And so I was learning. I had this insane goal, like learning 300 songs, and I think I got through like 10 of them or something.
Learning 300
like
songs so you'd have stuff to pick through and busk with. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So are you familiar with like Broadway and the honky tonks in Nashville at all?
No.
Okay, so Lower Broadway is just like this part of like downtown Nashville where there's like a bajillion honky tonks, and there are like people playing in like every honky tonk from like 11 a.m. to like 2 a.m. And they all end up like playing for tips, or I think most of them all play for tips, and that's where like a lot of people get their start in town. Like meeting people, going out, seeing if they can sit in, and then eventually becoming friends with those people, and then being able to sub and then get their own gig, kind of doing that. And so my plan was just to show up, with this fucking massive catalog of just songs that I could like be able to pull out like no problem,
Totally.
kind of a thing. And then if I wanted to go sit in, like it wouldn't be an issue, and people be like, oh shit, he like,
already knows
he already knows like all this, like kind of a thing.
Nice. That's smart. Yeah, set yourself up and learn that stuff and before you get out there, and then just start making connections, connecting the dots.
Yeah. But now that COVID has happened,
Yeah.
a lot has changed for me personally as far as my like goals with music go, and just life in general.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I know, man. COVID has been quite the shocker. It's funny, like the job that I do now, I kind of like stumbled into, and it's actually working out really good though, because it's like I work like I make my own hours and stuff, and so
Nice.
and it's like probably the best job I've ever had, and it worked out good, but it's been crazy. It's been up and down. I actually got COVID in like January.
Oh
or
shit, really? I
December.
didn't know that.
Yeah, I had it. And honestly, it was for me, it wasn't that bad. I was like sick for like I was uncomfortable for about like 2-3 days. I was like achy, and dude, the weirdest part of it was that not being able to taste or smell, like so weird.
Do you have like your full sense of like taste and smell back
Yeah,
now?
I've got it all back now,
Okay.
for sure. But it was just super weird.
Yeah, I bet, man. I feel very lucky. I have not gotten it at all.
Yeah.
And it's so weird because like, I'll meet people, like you who have just like, kind of returned back to normal, no issues.
Mm-hmm.
I have one friend who it's been like 5 months now, and he can still barely like taste anything.
Oh wow,
Which is just crazy for me to think about, because like I fucking love food.
dude, same.
Like the whole like culture like behind food, like everything, history,
Yeah.
and just not being able to do that like for maybe forever, like
Yeah, who
fuck,
knows?
man, that's got to be brutal.
Totally. Yeah, it was so weird, dude. Like put something in your mouth and not taste it, but feel the texture.
Yeah.
Super weird, dude. Like you chew on like some meat or whatever. It's just like chewing on leather. It's like there's no taste to it. Or like you put a grape in your mouth and it's like there's nothing there. It's like not sweet or anything.
It's got to be strange.
Yeah, it was weird because like I got a test, and then my doctor called me the next day. I woke up, and he told me that I had COVID, and then he asked me if I could taste or smell, and I was like, I don't know, let me check. And then I grabbed because he called me on the phone. I grabbed like my stick of deodorant and put it up to my nose and couldn't smell it. I was like, whoa, what the heck, you know? But yeah, fortunately for me and my entire family, it wasn't too bad. We were worried about my dad because he's 70, diabetic, had just got done recovering from heart surgery in June before that. So it was scary for like maybe 2-3 days, but then he pulled out of it pretty good. And but yeah, it's just crazy how it affects people differently.
Yeah, it's wild, man. My mom's vaccinated now. My grandparents are vaccinated. I'm vaccinated. I'm just like really grateful that there's finally like something in place to like really be able to keep people safe. Yeah, because I mean my friend's mom just like passed away like I think like last week from it.
Yeah. Wow.
And like I think one of their other family members got it, and she's just totally fine, but her mom just didn't make it, unfortunately. So yeah, crazy stuff, man.
Yeah, it definitely is. I got actually my first dose like a week or two ago, so I'm in the process of that. I don't know, I just got it just to I guess I don't even really know why, like cuz I had it, and I'm not like super scared of it honestly anymore. But I understand that it does affect some people, really bad. And I just want to do the right thing. And also too, like, now they're starting to open things up, and you can go in certain places and not have to wear a mask if you're vaccinated, kind of thing. And so, I don't know. Just trying to do the right thing, I guess.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like, I mean, all of this is still like fairly surreal for me. Just like sitting, right here with you,
totally,
and like being able to do a thing is fucking great.
Yeah.
But I'm moving to Portland, in like a week from now, and then probably in September I'll end up moving back to Dallas. Because I'm working remotely right now for my job, and I think they're going to open up the office then, and then I'll go back. But just kind of as like a nostalgia bomb, I'm taking my mom to an Emeralds
cool
baseball game.
Nice.
And we used to go to them like all the time as a kid, but now it's because of the vaccination thing, like they have like vaccinated like seating.
Right, I heard about it. Yeah, some of my friends actually went to the game. I think it was like the other week. We were playing disc golf, and they were talking about going right after we got done, and so they just opened that up. That's cool.
Yeah.
I used to go to those games too when I was a little kid. Get the ball signed by all the players.
Yep.
Hang out with my dad and get hot dogs.
Yep, exactly.
Good time.
Yeah,
and now there's the new new stadium and all that over there.
Yeah, because the old one burnt down. Some kids lit it on fire.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, and then have you seen what they put in place of it now? It's like a big sports center.
Yeah, the kids sports. I used to do kids sports like growing up. Like I did like t-ball and like the whole thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, it's crazy how insane that place is. Like it's just fucking massive.
Yeah, it's like top-notch facility for sure. Yeah. Yeah, sports, man, sports. I was thinking we're at 30 minutes. I was thinking probably go for maybe an hour if we get there.
Yeah, it's fine with me, man.
If we don't have to do any more than that, but I'm
having a blast. This is
cool. This is really cool, dude.
Yeah.
I'm stoked on this. So I don't know exactly how I'm gonna like post it or what it's gonna end up being or anything like that. I'm thinking about like maybe I'll just do like the audio file with a picture posted to YouTube, and then if I later on want to get it on like Spotify or something, maybe I will. But for now, I'll just keep it simple, and I think it should be accessible enough there on my YouTube channel. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, having it anywhere is better than having it nowhere.
Yeah, that's exactly kind of what I was thinking, and it's weird because like I've been like I said, I had a podcast before, and I've been wanting to do it again for a really long time, and just kind of been like putting it off and doing other things, but it all just kind of worked out good. Like it's funny, what kind of motivated me is like my aunt got me this microphone stand back behind me, and it went a microphone with it, and even though like we're not using it, it kind of got me thinking, and and then like moving my space around and getting it so like I can fit everything in here to do this, and so it's cool. I'm excited to see what happens. I want to have my bandmates from the reggae band on there, because I think it'd be fun to have them and like tell some of the stories from like us traveling and playing shows just shenanigans and stuff like that.
Tour stories are always the best.
Yeah, they're always the best. There's some good ones. There's one that like I'll share kind of quick right now. Like when we were on this big tour that we went on, we lived in our bus for like 2.5 months together, and we toured mostly California, and just it was just such a wild experience. But one time we were playing, and we were in San Pedro.
Yeah.
And we had just got done playing our show, and so we packed everything up, and then we go to get in the bus and go find a place to park or whatever. But when I go to start the bus, it's like seized. It won't start, right?
Oh, God.
So we end up getting stuck on like just in front of this parking meter, like not too far from our venue, for like 3 days in San Pedro. And it's just crazy. Like I'm like working on the bus, like getting all dirty, like nowhere to shower, and just hot,
which is
sketchy.
great, like compounding the fact that like you're sweating your fucking ass off every night.
Yeah, totally. And then you got to go to bed, and your vehicle's still not working, so you got to figure it out. It's funny, we ended up figuring out though that on the road, if we get gym memberships, we could have showers and use the bathroom and stuff like that.
Planet Fitness.
We ended up going with YMCA.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that they were like Are they like all over the country then?
There were enough of them around where we were that made sense to go.
Oh, that's
for
perfect.
that one. But yeah, it worked out really good. It was just such a good little hack, like for anybody that's traveling or doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's crazy. That 3 days, man.
Yeah.
What was the parking ticket situation?
Dude,
like?
Honestly, I can't believe it, but we didn't get a ticket or bugged or nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Where's
crazy.
San Pedro at again?
I don't know exactly, but it's like the LA area. It's like it's in the bay. It's like a big ship port.
Okay, yeah. So definitely like the kind of place where like people would like fuck with you there, and they'd be like, "Hey, why is your vehicle here?"
Well, dude, at night it would get sketchy. Like we would just stay in the bus. Like one night we had to go get water, and we had me and the singer of the band. We walked to the 7-Eleven that was there.
Yeah.
And like just the whole way it was so sketchy, and like we would just stay on the other side of the street if someone was coming. You know what I mean? Or like, and when we finally got into there, it was just everybody in there was just like, ooh, like it's just we're just. I don't know how to say it, but it was sketchy.
I think it's really important to trust that, to trust your instinct when that happens. Yeah, man. I had speaking of tour stories, I'll tell you one that was pretty interesting. I'd gone on this tour with this punk band for like a couple weeks, and mostly playing shows in California, and the whole thing was like a fucking shit show. Like, there's people like arguing all the time, and just not the hang you want to like have, when you're like crammed in a van with two people, or not two people, but with people for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we end up going to Oakland, and the bass player of the band, him and I were pretty tight. He was great. Always had a fun time hanging out with him. And we went to, I think we played this fucking place called the Stork Club, which is just like shithole of a place ran by like this owner who's like totally like fucked up. So we get to Oakland and get to the venue, and like things just kind of seem off. Like there's like a lot of like people rolling through that just seem like don't fuck with them kind of a thing. Don't even like talk to them.
Yeah.
And like the guy and him and I are just like starving, and so we see like a Taco Bell like down the street, and we're just like, okay, let's go get some food or whatever. We order like our food. He goes off into the bathroom, and like a couple minutes later he comes back just kind of looking like white as a ghost. And I'm like, what's up, man? Like, you good? And he's just like, I'll tell you about it later. Like, we need to just like leave like once we get our food. And I was like, okay. And we're sitting there like waiting, and all of a sudden we just like hear this like commotion off behind us, and we look, and like there's this couple, this sweet, cute looking innocent couple sitting down like eating their food, and there's this 4-year-old and her mom, and her mom is like screaming at the couple and just like talking like mad smack. And apparently like this little kid like was like throwing trash at him. And so they were like, hey, can you quit being a brat and stop throwing trash at us while we're trying to eat our like dinner or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And apparently like the little girl told her mom that they just flipped her off. And so she like is like, I'll take you outside, like I'm gonna beat the shit out of you, like just escalating, and the tension in the room is just like getting bigger and bigger. And I'm like, I think like a fight is like about to happen. And then this dude comes barreling out of the hallway that the bathroom was in, and like the guy that I'm with, the bass player, he's just like. He's like looking at him, and I'm like, uh-oh, this is probably like the person like he was dealing with earlier. And this guy comes out, and he's just like, the fuck's going on? Like, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna blast fools. And he just like flashes like a pistol.
Oh no.
And we're like, holy shit. And as soon as that happens, our fucking order number gets called, and we just grabbed our food and we booked it out the door and just started running down the street.
Damn.
And like that same dude was like, no, like come back, like it's all good, man. And like he started like walking down the street after us, and we were like, fucking don't stop running. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And we got to a point, and we just kind of like hid out behind a car, and he just kept on like walking down the street.
Damn.
And yeah, like I don't know, I'm sure there's a lot of great people in Oakland, but that was like,
yeah,
that was like a really like, that was probably a real Oakland moment.
Yeah, it's interesting, like traveling, like, and I've noticed, like, with California, like, there's a lot of situations that, like, if you're like maybe unaware of, you could find yourself in trouble, or just like things. I mean, especially with I feel like the gang stuff that goes on. You know what I mean?
That happened to me in Mexico City. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That was you want another one?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
So there's this fucking awesome band called Bath Party from Portland. They're like acid rock.
Math party?
No, Bath Party.
Bath Party.
Yeah,
Okay.
like the Bath Party.
Right on.
Yeah, I booked them in town a couple of times, and I had a great experience with them. And I found out that they were going on tour in Mexico, and so I was like, hey, like, do you guys like need a photographer? Like, I have a camera. Like, I don't really know how to use it, but like maybe I could take some pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yeah, like sure. And so I think I went to Mexico with like $200. Like that was literally all the money I had. But I was like, fuck it, you know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
Make
adventure,
it work.
whatever. I'm like 22, so you know this is no problem for me. Like
Right.
I'm not gonna plan ahead.
Yeah.
And we met with this band in Tijuana called Day Sun Lemonade. Super awesome people, wonderful human beings, and we ended up flying down to Mexico City and then kind of like taking buses everywhere and just backpacking. Like there were times like we were like sleeping outside, like in the bus terminal, kind of a thing. Like,
So you guys flew there rather than like traveling with your gear?
yeah. So, well, what we did was we drove down
Yeah.
to San Diego,
Okay.
parked the van at a friend's house, and then they had like their guitars. I think Justin had like his cymbal bag and like a snare, and then Mike had like this fucking massive pedal board that was such a pain in the ass to haul. And so we just like backpacked it everywhere and carried all of that gear with us.
Just did it as minimally as possible.
Yeah, and like took like buses, just you know like Greyhounds basically from like town to town
Uh-huh.
on the outskirts of Mexico City. But I think it was like the first or second night we landed in Mexico City. We were staying at our friend Pedro's house, and I mean, I don't know if there's any good neighborhoods in Mexico City, really. Like, you know, not that I saw, which, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I love Mexico, favorite country I've ever been to. I've been there several times. Like, best culture, like any like Latino kind of culture is just like my fucking jam. Those are my people for sure.
Heck yeah.
And you know, we're all hanging out at his house, having a great time. It's probably like, you know, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. And, you know, we're running out of beer. And I'm like, well, we need more beer. And so I'm like, hey, guys, I'm going to go to the store, you know, just hop down to the tienda a couple blocks away and go grab some beers for us. And they're like, just you? And Pedro's like, yeah, no, I'm going to go with you. And I was like, come on, like, what's wrong? What's going to happen? You know, like, I'm just going to the store.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you want me to go with you. And I was like, okay, sure, whatever. So we hop out of his place, walk down a couple blocks, and we get to the store, and it's all locked up, and there's a bunch of people waiting in line. And it's kind of one of those situations where you've got, you know, the cashier behind, you know, the metal bars.
Oh, yeah.
And there's like a slot, you know, to put your money in and to put whatever you're getting, you know. And there's no going inside the store at this hour.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's kind of different. Okay. And all of a sudden, this guy is walking up to everyone, and everyone, there's not a single person who doesn't hand this guy some money. And I'm like, oh, I guess he's just like asking for money. I'm like, well, you know, normally, like, I don't mind. Like, I'll give someone like a couple bucks, whatever, you know, if they want a beer or a cig or whatever I have, like, I'll give them something. I'm happy to be generous. But I literally had like, I think like maybe $150 at this point, and like I'm still like, I think I have like a week and a half of the tour left. So I'm like, yeah, sorry, man. I gotta hold on to this, bud. And Pedro's just like, no, I'll pay for you or whatever. And I'm like, pay for me? Like, what do you mean? Like, okay, whatever. And I just like, what happened? And he's like, we'll talk about it later. And so we grab our beer. We're walking back, and I was like, so what was that about? And he's like, oh, you know, like, the guy just looks out for you. Like, it's protection, you know, like, give him some money, and, like, if you get hassled in the street, he'll look out for you. And I'm like actual protection money? Like, did you just, like, give, like, you know, like a gang, like, you know, protection money for, like, your neighborhood? And he's like, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Crazy.
I'm glad I didn't go alone because I probably would have
Made
had
that guy
something
upset.
pretty. Yeah, and like something probably pretty not great would have happened because of
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah, definitely got to be careful when you're traveling. That's for sure. I've never had the opportunity to go to Mexico or even actually
Gotta go.
leave the United States.
Oh,
honestly.
really?
Yeah, I've done a little bit of traveling, like with sports and music and stuff. I've Oregon, Washington, California, Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, North Dakota, Florida. So I've been to like a fair amount of other
You've gotten
states and
around.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly all West Coast and Nevada, Arizona with music.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely I'm looking forward to playing more shows and getting to do more traveling and having more stories to tell.
100%, man. Yeah, I think, and it's definitely like a privilege to be able to travel, like 100% for
Absolutely.
sure. And I'm very, very grateful that I've had the opportunities that I've had.
Yeah.
And that I've been able to make them, kind of happen.
And you're set up for it now with your van.
Yeah. For now, like I said, I'm gonna want to end up selling it because I'm just not using it for what I had it for. But I mean, yeah, I gotta do a lot of awesome things in that thing. Like when I went to move to Dallas to go, for my job. I was like, well, I'm going to make a fucking cool road trip out of this because I literally just converted this into like a house with power, with solar. So like
It's solar. It's got solar panels?
Yeah,
oh, that's
it's got
cool.
solar.
Super
yeah,
cool.
like I had I had a refrigerator in there. Like I had everything in there.
Heck yeah.
Toilet, everything.
Nice, dude.
You want to go poop? You can go poop.
Wow. Yeah, it's a sick van. I've converted one of the like airport shuttle type buses from my band. We set it up and it had 5 bunk beds in it, and there was a trunk in the back for the gear, and it had there was four passenger seats, 1 driver seat, and it worked really good. We saved a lot of money sleeping in the bus instead of trying to get hotels or weasel our way into people's living rooms for couches and stuff. Yeah, you save a lot of money if you have something like that you can crash in.
Yeah, that thing is beastly. I remember seeing some like videos and pictures of it, and I'm like, man, that's fucking cool that you guys have that. Cause like
it was like a 25-footer.
Yeah, dude, it's badass looking. Cause like when you're having to do that, it's a real struggle. And I've been on some the majority of the tours I've been on. It's like, hey, we're so and so band from wherever. We're looking for a place to crash tonight. If anyone can help us, that'd be great.
Make the announcement on stage.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like before, in the middle, and after you get done playing,
Yeah.
and just like hope that some people will be able to come up to you.
Yeah.
And
it does happen.
Tons of generous people.
Totally.
But yeah, I mean,
just
you also
know.
get some really weird situations too.
Yeah, it's nice just being able to pull up and park and crash somewhere for the night. Like I said, with us two, with having the gym memberships, like after the show, we would always like look up and find out where the YMCA is, and then go park there, and then go in the next day.
Did you guys work out at all?
Use the bathroom. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I've just now like really got into fitness.
That's awesome.
Overall health stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay with it. It's always been a constant struggle, but
I mean, you look great. Like
thanks,
as
man.
far as your health goes, your skin looks wonderful. You just you seem to be glowing.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I try. I went to. I went to the gym last night.
Nice.
Did a bunch of leg stuff, but yeah, I try to stay in there and I don't know, just take care of myself. Try to stay moving and not get old and stiff.
Yeah, it's
That's
so important too. Like the older you get, like the importance of it. And I didn't really realize that until I started getting into it. And it makes sense now, like with my mom, like she's getting like pretty frail, and like I'm really pushing for her to like start to like do like strength training and stuff like that.
Totally.
And she seems pretty interested in it. But yeah, man, I've had a real journey with health, physical health and mental health over the last 6 months. It's been pretty wild because I had like a lot of just like crazy family stuff happen back in January. And I went into like really bad depression, and I've always had like seasonal depression, kind of like I think everyone, to a degree. Like, oh, it's we live in Oregon and it fucking pisses rain, and it's cloudy and dark and just
it'll get to you for sure.
Yeah, and so like I just thought that that's kind of what it was. And it definitely wasn't. Like I saw a psychiatrist, and like he's like, yeah, like you've got like major depressive disorder, and I was like, okay, well, this makes way more sense now. And, now I can actually deal with it.
That's something I've never done, but I definitely am interested in.
Dude, I'm so glad I did it. And, like, the timing of it all was so important for me because I was just like, I'd never been that, bad before.
Yeah.
And I ended up taking a break from work and just being like, I really need to focus on this. I need to really take care of myself. And I ended up taking like 3 months off of work.
Wow.
And I did like an intensive outpatient program at Peace Health. So like 9 hours a week of therapy for like 2 months.
Oh, wow.
And it is like completely changed my life.
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's been great.
That's awesome, dude.
DBT therapy specifically.
DBT?
Yeah, it's dialectic behavioral therapy.
Okay.
There's also CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy.
Mm-hmm.
But DBT I think is great, and I think everyone should do it because it's basically like getting like a toolkit on how to deal with like life. Which like no one gives you any of that, like growing up. Like
right.
you get some things and like learn, how to like kind of cope, but like having a toolkit for just dealing with like everyday life I think is so useful.
For sure. I think even just being evaluated and someone telling you, oh, you do this that you maybe don't even realize that you do, kind of a thing, like that would probably be helpful. I'm definitely interested in it, so I probably will take action on that.
Yeah, man, I highly recommend it. I just recommend therapy for anyone, regardless if you feel like totally fine, because there's just a lot of like growth, like as you as a person, I think that you can get out of it. And for me, man, I've like never been happier in life up until now.
That's great.
And like, I'm living like the most simple life. Like I'm not playing in any bands, which is like defined me for like,
yeah, that's crazy.
Better part of like close to 2 decades now.
For sure, yeah.
My like living situation is kind of weird, and I don't have like a lot of stability like in that, but I'm fucking doing great.
Excellent. You still have your drums?
Yeah. I still have
play
them.
every once in a while. Or you still play a lot?
Yeah. Every once in a while, I've been like super busy lately.
Yeah.
With I'm working like full time, 40 hours a week, and then just like, getting ready to move and stuff like that has been a really big thing. And getting my van prepped for, being able to eventually sell it so I can kind of get into a different vehicle. And I just want that vehicle to be able to use for what I build it for.
Totally.
Kind of thing.
Deserves it for sure. It's definitely the right vehicle for someone, doing that kind of thing.
And it's so much fun. And I hope whomever ends up getting it, like, I would love to just be able to like hook someone up to, like, if someone like doesn't have quite what I'm looking for, but I can tell they really want to use it, like I just want to be able to do that for them. Because like I went to like Yosemite and the Grand Canyon and just like a bunch of places, and honestly some of that shit was really life-changing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But yeah, I've been playing now and again, and like I think that was a really big thing too for me for the last like year. I haven't really like enjoyed playing drums since I like moved, because like leaving town was really hard for me. And I didn't realize it was going to be so difficult when I moved. I was like, oh, I'm moving to a big city. Like there's going to be like so many cool opportunities and stuff. And then I was like, oh, like I just left behind like everyone and like everything and like my whole community of like people and like, this really like kind of like this baby that I created with like Child Speak for, like 4 years. So that was really hard. And, I think with just like generalized depression, like, it just made enjoying music really difficult. But now I'm at a point where I'm like really enjoying my hobbies again. And so getting back into it has been great. And I'm going to be playing a gig next month.
Oh, nice.
For, do you know Nate from Smear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I love Nate. We used to play paintball together.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we've known each other for a long time.
That's awesome. Yeah, so he's got his like Jam Fest thing.
That's right. Yeah, he does it every year.
Yeah, so I'm going to be playing that with Surf Strugs.
Oh, awesome. When is that going down?
I think it's the last weekend of July.
Oh, okay, cool. And that's not like a public event. That's an invite kind of thing?
Yeah, that's like a homie kind of a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a cool event. I need to make it out there to one of those. That'd be
you should go this year if you can.
Hit him up. Yeah, he has invited me before. I'm pretty sure he's actually asked us to play, but I just never never sealed the deal.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, I bet. And they got a cool spot on the river too. Huh?
It's beautiful there.
Yeah, and
it's adorable because his mom is like the sweetest person in the world, and she's just like running around like with like making food and stuff like that, and it's just so cute and wholesome.
Yeah, it sounds like a sweet time, dude.
But yeah, like getting back into playing, it's been so fucking cool.
Right.
Because like we practiced yesterday, or no, like a couple days ago.
With Child Speak?
No, with Surf Strugs.
Oh, okay, with Surf Strugs.
Yeah, and getting together with Connor and Berg was just so much fun.
Nice.
And like we all remembered how to like play the songs. Like it was a little bit rough with some of them. Like, oh yeah, that's how this thing went. But that's one of the nice things about playing simple music and not playing like prog rock.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just like get to play it and you're like, oh cool, we did it. That was fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's why I like still jamming and doing the reggae thing. It's like you don't have to think about it as much. And like you said earlier, it was interesting, enjoying playing as much. And sometimes like taking a break is necessary because especially when you're studying stuff that's difficult and you're really trying your hardest to pull it off. It's like it can be sometimes like when I come up here to play, like I love playing my drums, but at the same time I'm like it's like sometimes it's hard to get in the mood to sit down for 2 hours every day or whatever. You know what
100%.
I mean? And so but you do have to stick with it, and you have to do it every day, and stay consistent, because it comes, and if you don't practice on it, it goes away too. So
yeah. Yeah, I've seen.
Yeah, but like you said too, with some other songs, like the simpler stuff, like it's kind of like riding a bike. Like you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember how this one goes.
Yeah.
It's up there in my mind. I'm not gonna forget it, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's crazy how and it's been like a year and a half, I think, since I played with them.
Yeah, and
it's kind of wild how shit just like comes back like clockwork. And you're like, oh yeah, guess we're just picking up where we left off from.
Totally. Yeah, and then like also too, I've noticed too, like I'll do the same thing, and and maybe I've evolved a little bit as a player, and I'm playing parts similar but slightly differently too. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's just interesting, like all the different little things to that.
Yeah, man, getting together and playing music with people has been such a privilege and a joy.
Yeah, totally.
we were just like sitting in this storage shed, sweating our fucking asses off. And just laughing and like having fun,
so many cool
fucking things up, making mistakes, and just like having a good time.
Yeah,
with the whole thing.
Totally. Yeah, there's so many cool stories and good things that happen that are associated with like getting to perform for people.
Yeah, and coming out of not getting to do it,
mm-hmm.
For the last year and a half or whatever it's been. Well, maybe it's been more of a year since COVID, I guess.
Yeah.
Started, but being able to finally do it again is such like a just. It's like exciting. An amazing thing. Like it's total like a total rebirth. Like I almost kind of wonder if it's like gonna be like kind of like the Renaissance in a way. With just like all these people coming out of like their shell, and just being able to create and give to the world.
Yeah, I think it's gonna pop off for sure. People are hungry for that kind of interaction, and I think they miss going to the shows. And
oh yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be sweet. I can't wait.
Have you seen like some of the lineups for the festivals? They're fucking insane.
Honestly, I've been seeing some of my favorite bands post things on social media and stuff, but I haven't really seen too much about festivals.
I don't know why I keep getting them like advertised to me, and they're like all sold out, and so I don't even know why it's happening. But some of the lineups that I've seen are just like crazy. Like it's like there was this one in France in particular that had like every heavy hitter on it, in the metal scene, that you're like, what? Like they're playing, like how did they book all these bands to be like, this is like everyone like, that can play at this kind of level. It's just, it's wild to see. Yeah,
they have some crazy big shows. Like I remember like watching the Lamb of God videos. The Download Festival was just massive. Just like a sea of people. It's crazy. So maybe we'll get back to there eventually.
I hope so. Yeah, man. I love that, and like I probably won't ever really go to that kind of thing. It's just not like really my scene. Like I like the more stripped down things, like for me, like I prefer to be like in a club that's no more than like, probably like 1,500, like 2,000, like max. Cause just like anything bigger than that. And I think the sound just starts to really kind of like not be nearly as great.
And you're going to be most likely in an outdoor type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, it's cool. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I think it's great. Like I went to, Punk and Drublic up in Portland. I think like summer
I've heard
before
good
last.
things about that one. Yeah,
and that was a ton of fun. Getting to see like all of like like Anti-Flag, which is like one of the first punk bands I ever like listened to. Of course, you know, you had, God, I'm just blanking out on the names of them. But just a bunch of like old school punk that it's just been around forever and it's great. But
Yeah.
I mean, I love listening to records. You know, being able to like intentionally sit down and like listen to like a full record and hear all the nuances and really be, you know, being mindful, you know, being present and listening to that is really important to me sometimes. And when like I'm trying to do the same thing at a show and, you know, like the sound is just kind of not really great, it makes it like a little bit more challenging.
Yeah.
And two, like, you know, it's kind of almost like being disconnected in a sense from like the artist when you're so far away.
For sure.
That's why I love like house
Yeah, it's
shows.
nice when you can actually see the players and like, you know, watch like what they're doing with their hands and that kind of thing. If you can get like a front row, or if you're at a smaller show, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's nice to be able to do that.
Yeah, and that's why like I'm totally fine with like it sounding like fucking ass, you know, in a basement show, because like you're getting the energy exchange there, and it doesn't matter,
totally, you
know, and you're like the sweat from everyone is on each other, and like, you know, everyone's breathing on each other, and it's just craziness. So it's easy for me to overlook it when something like that, because you have that deep connection.
Totally. Well, sweet man, I think that's probably enough for now. But thanks so much for doing this with me and being a part of the first episode. I'm not sure what I'm going to call it or anything yet, but
Charles in charge.
Charles in charge. That could be, yeah. I don't know, but I'll let you know. Is there anything else that we should put out there before we go? Any social media where to find you? Or
you can find me on Instagram. I think it's t.j.drums.
Okay.
I'm not much of a content creator these days, but I've kind of been thinking about getting back into it because I did have a lot of fun with it.
And the band that you said you're playing with is?
Surf Drugs.
Surf Drugs?
Yeah, that's who I'm going to be playing with
and
next
then
month.
We can find them on YouTube, Spotify?
Yeah, they're on all that stuff.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Very good, man.
Well, cool. Thanks for having me on, man. This was like a ton of fun and just a great way to be able to like catch up and shoot the shit.
Dude,
so
absolutely,
it's
man.
wonderful to see you.
My pleasure.